So, Mendel's principles of inheritance. Mendel's principles of inheritance. Now, the three main principles of inheritance. We have the principle of dominance, the principle of segregation, the principle of independent assortment. And before now, we looked at dominance, we looked at recessiveness, right? Now, dominance. We say a dominant allele is the one that marks, that suppresses the other, right? That's a dominant allele. Now, the principle of dominance states that if one allele is dominant over the other, it will mark the other one, right? It will mark the other one. And the one that is marked is called what? The recessive allele. Do you understand that? It's called the recessive allele. Now, for dominant allele, we said dominant allele is represented by what? Is it capital letter or small letter? Capital letter, right? While the recessive is represented with what? Small letter. Now, I don't know. Let's go. Now, the second one, principle of segregation. Now, we know that these alleles are in pairs, the genes are in pairs, right? Good. Now, if you have something like this, capital T, capital T, this is homozygous dominant, right? Yeah. Now, before this is passed on to offspring, there must be segregation, separation. The two alleles must separate from each other, so that the garment, during garment formation, only one will be passed on, so either the sperm or the egg cell. Only one will be passed. So the offspring will receive one from, let's say this is the father, and the mother is this. The mother also segregates, right? Small t, and only one of these will be passed to the offspring. So the offspring will end up receiving one of these and one of these, right? To form its complete. That is what you see when the same mother, the same father, and one is tall, another one is short. Let's take, for example, we have something like this. If the father's genotype is this, and the mother's genotype is this. Remember, before the genes are passed on, there was segregation, right? Separation, the two must separate. And if these two separate, we have capital T and small t here, right? Here we have capital T here and small t here. Is it not? Good. Now, this one can combine with this one, right? And the offspring here can be capital T, is it not? This one can combine with this one, and you have something like this. But this one, you combine with this one, and you have something like this. So, though from the same parent, but this child is tall, this one is short. Because during, when they are combining, they combine differently. Is it not? So, first, there must be segregation. Because if there is no segregation, it means you have multiple genes in one locus. You get that? Like, everything here, but it means if this is height, and there is no segregation, you just take this and take this, and two of them are tall. Meaning you put your mother's height on top of your father's spoon. You're coming to this class, you have to sit down. Somebody is all this. So there must be segregation. Do you understand that now? Now, principle of independent assortment. Now, we've seen that segregation is separation of the two alleles from each other, right? Now, the way this one segregates will be different from, is independent of the segregation of the other ones. So, in inheritance of genes are independent of each other. So, we have something like this. And this one segregated to have this. The segregation of gene on this locus is different, is independent of the way this other one will segregate. What that means in practical terms is this. Somebody is AS. Let me use an obvious case, even if it's not. Somebody is AS and the person marries AS. Since we are on AS now. This one is AS, the wife is AS. And maybe the first child is AA, the second child AA. You, now, from nowhere now, you wake up and say, that person, the first child is AA, the second child is AA. So you go and marry somebody that's AS when you are AS. That your own first child will be AA too, and second one will be AA. It doesn't apply that way. Inheritance of genes are independent of each other, even in a single human being. The way this one segregates, the inheritance of this one is independent of another gene. So genes segregate and their inheritance is independent of another gene. Do you get that? We already know segregation, you are separating them from each other. And the way you are inheriting them is totally independent of another gene somewhere. Though we'll look at linkage in our next topic. How genes very close to each other can be inherited together. Linkage will be our next topic. And we'll see how one can carry out his experiments with fruit flies. That some of his experiments, some of his findings that he did years after Mendel's law did not follow Mendel's theory. Alright, so we'll look at that. Any questions so far? Now, the next thing we'll talk about incomplete dominance and codominance. Now, incomplete dominance. We said dominance, the one that is showing forth, right? And recessive, the one that is masked. Now, if you cross a red plant with a white plant, you are supposed to have either all of them red, all of them white, or some red. So in this case, all of them red, or some white and some red, right? Good. But in this case, if after crossing, of course, you are going to have all of them as this, right? Yes. Now, and you have, in a normal case, the offspring are supposed to be red, right? Because this is dominant. But in case of incomplete dominance, instead of red, they are pink. This is a case of incomplete dominance. If you cross a red plant with a red colored plant with a white colored plant, and you have an intermediate color that is different from any of the parents, that is called what? Incomplete dominant. No, this one is not completely dominating. Do you get that? Alright, so now in codominance, two of the traits of both parents are showing. Now, in the case of codominance, if you cross a black bull with a white cow, I know you used to call all of them cow, but they are cattle. The male is the bull, right? While the female is the cow. So if you cross this and the offspring, what you are seeing is black and white patches. Black and white patches. That is, both of them are dominating, right? Yes. So we call it codominance because this one is showing, this one is also showing. That is the case of codominance. But incomplete dominance, we have an intermediate color. Do you understand that? Maybe ash. That will be incomplete dominance. Do you understand that? Any questions?